Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex P. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Thursday, October 17th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and Matt Robinson in the house. Big 11-game card for this Thursday night. We'll get to that in just a moment. A great Wednesday night for the collective here on the Ice Guys show yesterday. A great night overall when you look back at it. Majority of bets hit. Another bargain bin comes through courtesy of Alex B. Smith with Charlie Coyle for the Boston Bruins. The Leafs get a nice workmanlike effort, 5-2 against the LA Kings. I absolutely love that even though they controlled most of that game, they did play terribly to start the third period, Toronto, and that's when LA got those 2 goals. And there's Craig Berube saying, oh, no, I'm not letting this team get away with this, even though they're winning this game comfortably. Calls a timeout to cuss out his team. Loved it. It's absolutely hilarious. And after that, they got things right back on track again and, played with attention to detail defensively that for the first time they kind of got away from it early in the third. So I love that. That's what Berube brings. Not going to put up with any bullshit this year. And I absolutely love that. The old Leafs that would blow a game like that or make it interesting, that game maybe 2 years ago would have gotten a 5-4 late in the third period against LA, but he nipped it in the bud with that timeout. Nice win for Toronto, and you already see the Berube influence there. Austin Matthews off the schneid as well, his first goal of the season. Shout out to Larry Fisher of Power Play Sportsbook, who said it would happen. He also had a big bounce-back night, so congratulations to him with his plays on the show yesterday. Buffalo, brutal loss. But the good news is I had the team total over primarily with the Sabres. That cashed easily, but I was hesitant with them to win the game because of their, Pittsburgh is scoring goals, and they did it again last night. How about Evgeny Malkin, his 500th career goal? 1,600th career point last night, too, for Sidney Crosby in the victory. And just a horrible loss for Buffalo because you had multiple leads. You couldn't hold the lead. Owen Power is just not physical enough in front of his own net to keep that tying goal from going in. It's got to be harder on the man than that and the puck than that. DQ Blizzard soft serve there from Owen Power. And I know a lot of Sabre fans were not very happy about his lack of tying up the man in front of the net. And then, of course, they win in overtime. Beautiful pass it was, too, as well, to Crosby, who gets the overtime winner and the 5-4 comeback win, or 6-5 comeback win for the Pittsburgh Penguins last night in that one. The woes continue for Colorado and Alexander Georgiev and their defense as they lose to the Boston Bruins last night, 5-3. Valiant effort, made it interesting late, but again, you just can't come back from all these defensive lapses and not getting the saves you need. And the injuries, of course, have played a part. But again, they're not playing well as a team defensively. Continue to struggle with that. The goaltending down, not great enough either. So obviously trouble for the Colorado Avalanches. They remain winless with the loss to Boston last night. And that was a great game for me. We had the over trifecta. All 3 legs of that hit, including the best bet on the show, Boston, Colorado over. Congrats to Alex with the Charlie Coyle bargain bin as well in that game as well. And then Utah and Anaheim. I said this last night. Isn't it nice to have a Utah-Anaheim game that you actually want to tune in and watch? It's 2 teams going up, the pecking order, and 2 teams with promising futures and young talent and skill. And sure enough, we saw it on display last night. Great hockey game. Another good result for me. An over by Fecta hits there. And we all kind of made the case that Anaheim was a live home underdog last night. Tough spot for Utah. East to west travel, going from those 3 games in the East to West Coast for 48 hours later. They did kind of, run out of gas steam a little bit as the game went on. And Anaheim, Leo Carlson with the overtime winner to give the Ducks the win. So a lot of us cashed a nice plus price winner there as well with the Anaheim Ducks last night. Alex, a great night of hockey, great betting night as well. Your thoughts on Wednesday's slate?
Yeah, like I said, a fantastic night. We start with that Anaheim game. It's interesting. I bet that day before at plus 115, thinking that number was actually going to kind of swing maybe closer toward a favorite. Wake up in the morning and you get 136. So I ended up adding another half unit on it plus 136, and then was having such a good night hitting with the Charlie Coyle prop and a couple other bets as well that I ended up throwing another unit on it in game as well. So that ended up being a huge hit for me with Anaheim. Just a fantastic game. Like I said, that was just a rough scheduling spot for Utah. This is the time of year now where we start honing in on some of the beginning of those scheduling spots in the road trips, for example, one we'll talk about later. Uh, some of these scheduling spots now start to come to fruition, and that's where we start to really get into a rhythm. Like I said, we need a week or two to start, hammering some of the bets that we really like to look for during the season, just because they're momentum style bets. They're things off of the losses, things off of previous game information that we have to utilize. So now we're seeing those spots come to light, and now being able to cash in on them. So it was a fantastic evening for sure.
Maddie, you had a great night too. Your thoughts?
Yeah, last night I didn't take any sides. I had no bets that were all relative or related to the game, which can't complain with that. Overs, I had 3 of the 4 games in the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game.
Matt, apparently we're all here that you got a robot voice sound, so come on out of the exit studio and come back in. See if that fixes it.
Yeah.
There we go. See, and you know what's funny is I was sounding like that. Holy shit, what the fuck was that? I was sounding like a robot too, and then Matt leaves and I sound great again.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? Oh my goodness. Well, then hopefully it's corrected when he joins us again in a few moments, but we'll have to wait and see. But wow, that was weird. But yeah, we'll get Matt's thoughts on what he thought of Wednesday night in just a moment. But again, shout out in the meantime, everyone in the chat. We appreciate it. Like I said, hopefully we got more of those nights than not. Moving forward, you're not gonna have a great night every night in a long 82 game regular season sport like this when you're betting every single day, every single night. But your goal is to have more of the positive nights than the negative nights. All right, let's try Matt again. Matt, speak.
Is that any better?
There you go.
Yeah,
you're back.
There you go.
Okay. But yeah, obviously a good night for me. Anytime there's a lot of goals like there was last night, it's going to be good for us. So I know all 3 of us kind of lean overs. We're definitely over betters. We enjoy watching the game. We want to see action. So it was a great night. And as you mentioned, good hockey watching night too. There were a lot of back and forth games. TNT broadcast was great again. And I look forward to Wednesdays every single week because they do a good job. And, I would have, maybe like to watch that Toronto game over the Pittsburgh game on paper before the game started. But that Pittsburgh game ended up being a great game, going to OT, seeing some historic goals. So obviously they made the right decision there.
It was a great night of hockey. We love the TNT studio crew, of course. Biz and Hank and Ace and Liam McHugh do a great job. And of course, the 2 games were pretty good, entertaining last night for sure. The whole card was entertaining. Even the worst game of the 4 was probably LA Toronto, and even that was still a fairly entertaining game overall when you look at it. So, like I said, and plus, any game's entertaining when you cash a best bet. And Alex had, of course, had Kings Leafs over first period in that game.
Well, and the thing too is with that, what Matt was saying with Pittsburgh Buffalo is that it seems like that game always ends up being a national game every year for whatever reason. Even though Buffalo always being a bad team.
I noticed that too. You're not alone
every
with that.
year.
Every year
going back to the
Buffalo
NBC network
twice. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's always a national game, and usually it's a boring game. But no, it actually ended up being, like I said, arguably the most exciting game to watch all evening. So.
And it was absolutely back and forth and very entertaining stuff and a lot of goals certainly in that game and a lot of goals all night. Certainly if you had the Grand Salami over last night, good on you because you would have cashed that one pretty easily. All right, let's get to Thursday. We've got 11 games starting with Buffalo and Columbus. Sabres minus 145, road favorites here, 6.5 the total in this game. I think this is a very tough game, personally, at least for me it is. You got Buffalo on a back-to-back, crushing loss to Pittsburgh last night. Not exactly a spot I'm ready to lay minus 145 with them on the road. We should see Devin Levi tonight because we saw Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen last night. I actually think Levi, now it's a small sample size. We're barely into the second week of the season. But I think so far, you can make the case Devin Levi's been the better of the 2 goalies so far for the Sabres this season to this point. Meanwhile, it's going to be Daniil Tarasov for Columbus. We kind of saw that coming because they're going to give Elvis Merzlikins a little bit of a break. and give him these opportunities to just, take a breather. He's had a lot to deal with. He's had mental struggles as well. Problem is Tarasov hasn't been consistent either in between the pipes. I lean over here, but I don't love it. Here's why I don't love it. Buffalo's coming off 6-goal allowance. I think they're going to at least try. Whether they're capable of it's another story. I think they're at least going to try to tighten things up a little on the back end. And meanwhile, from the Columbus perspective, I'm just not sure, Alex, what you get from them after the emotion of the other night for Johnny Gaudreau. Like coming back and playing again after a night like that, where there was so much emotion and intention and really just, focus on the putting on a good, not so much a good game on the ice, but putting on the right way to pay homage to Johnny Gaudreau. And you got to play 2 days later. I'm not totally sold on this being an A-game spot from the Columbus Blue Jackets either. So I lean over, don't love it, and I don't want any side here. So probably a pass for me when it's all said and done. Alex, what do you think here? Sabres, Jackets.
Yeah, I took a shot with a draw here. I got a plus 370, and I just feel like I said this could be a tough spot for Columbus. Like I said, a bit of an emotional letdown coming off of the events of everything with last game. But at the same time, this also seems like one of those spots where Buffalo, where we always say we love them as an underdog, we can't trust them as a favorite. And so maybe this is one of those spots where this game ends up being kind of close. It's a 2-2, 3-3 kind of a battle. So just a smaller play on the draw here. Other than that, it's a pass.
For the longest time, Buffalo Columbus was over every single game, but the last 2 meetings last year actually stayed under. We'll see. I actually think what Jeff says in the chat, with Buffalo losing last night, usually the team on a back-to-back is fresher and faster early in the game on a back-to-back, and then Columbus coming off the loss to Florida, that maybe you could see both teams find the back of the net in the first period. So maybe a small shot with the first period, both teams to score in this game. I don't mind that given the situation, but like I said, overall for this game, not very bullish on it. LA and Montreal, we've got the Kings minus 140 road favorites, 6 the total in this game. Look, I know there's going to be an element to this where LA had the 8-7 loss to Ottawa, the 2-1 loss to Boston over the weekend, which started the road trip, the 8-7, fire wagon hockey game that they fell to the Senators in overtime, and then last night a 5-2 loss to Toronto that eventually they got to show up and right the ship. I ain't laying minus 140 with this team and Phoenix Copley in net, and they had to play both goalies because Riddick got pulled, and they had to put Copley in last night, so he's actually playing on back-to-back nights, and they're just not playing well enough. And we're seeing, isn't the fruits of our pre-season prep labor that we have done with, including on the Kings preview, didn't we all say, and I think Dana Lane joined us for that one on the LA Kings as well, that preview video, didn't we all say this Kings defense was certainly going to suffer a little bit without Drew Doughty? And you see, the way it's gone the last couple games. They've given up, 14 goals in the last 2 games combined. So I think it's a tricky spot. It's not only that they're struggling defensively, it's their 3rd road game in 4 nights. I don't trust their D. I don't trust their goaltending right now. And I know I got burned by Montreal Monday night against Pittsburgh. They lost 6-3, and they're going to have nights like that, the Canadians, every now and then. But this is the last game of this homestand. I don't think they want to drop 2 in a row at home before they go on the road after this. I'm going to take another shot with Montreal here, home underdog, plus 120. Alex, Kings, Canadians.
Yeah, it's another one I did, much like in the Anaheim game. I already bet a little bit of plus 105 last night. Wake up to see this number move to plus 120, so I went up betting another half unit on that. So I have plus 105 and plus 120 combined for a unit. So I obviously take the better of the number. It's something I don't mind doing. I don't mind, like I said, having at least a little piece in pocket of grabbing these numbers just in case it goes the opposite way against me. So obviously, as we get further along in the season, I'll get sharper with those reads, and we just end up getting the best number. Don't have to play any of the smaller or the worst numbers. But still, this is a great spot. Like I said, scheduling for Kings have been gone from LA for over 2 weeks. When you add in the practices and the games from Quebec City, and so that's just a long time for any team to be away, no matter what's the beginning of the season or the end of the season. And the Habs are in good form right now. So taking the Habs as a home dog, I'm right there with you. And also like the first period over too. Now that's dropped. We saw it kind of open like 125. Now I'm seeing a 116 at FanDuel. So I'm buying in on that now. You can wait and grab a little bit of plus money in game, but I certainly don't mind laying $1.16 with that over 1.5.
All right, back to the well for Alex with a Kings first period over, and also liking a little bit for Montreal here in this one. And like I said, and by the way, I do like the Deneau prop though for LA. Like, and again, it's going back to Montreal, close to home, former Hab. Makes sense to maybe take a shot with Phil Deneau to find the back of the net. For Montreal, for me, it's Slavkovsky, it's Caulfield for them, and it's any Lane Hudson points, whether it's goal or an assist. Anything you can find on him, I think, is worth a look for sure. Those would definitely be some props I'm interested in. Hard not to bet Cole Caulfield right now. He's just a scoring machine at the moment for Montreal. All right, Matt is back with us. We'll get Matt's thoughts first on Buffalo Columbus before he left us just now. So what do you think here, Sabres Jackets?
Yeah, it actually worked out because I don't have anything really on that game. I lean over, especially in the first period, but it's probably something I would look at live. I think I saw it as high as like minus 155. So
yeah, I can't take
I
it.
don't love that price. I think this could be, if this was a total at 6, I'd like it a lot more. I'm sure it's out there at 6. I know you can buy down on certain books. But yeah, with an 11 game card, this will probably be a pass game for me.
All right, and LA Montreal.
LA Montreal, I love the first period over. I think both these teams have been sort of up and down, but have definitely been able to score some goals in certain games. And then I like Montreal team total here over 2.5. You got to lay a little bit of juice. I see it at like minus 140, minus 150. But I think asking them to get 3 goals at home, I like them to do that tonight. So a little bit on first period over, and then also on Montreal team total over 2.5.
One of the games of the night, Vegas Golden Knights, Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay up to minus 150 now, the Tampa Bay Lightning in this game. 6 the total in this game. I was on a show earlier. I'm on Thursdays with my good friend Jimmy the Bag, Pub Sports Radio, betting with the Bag every Thursday. And I mentioned on that show, I am on Tampa Bay in this game, but I got him at a better price than, I can't believe how much it's gone up. It was around minus 130, 35 when I got on it. It's up to minus 150 right now. I still like Tampa. They've gotten off to a great start. They're 2-0. They've given up just 1 goal in their 2 wins against Carolina and Vancouver. Vasilevsky, by the way, he looks on his game. He was great against Vancouver. He was very good against Carolina in the first game. And what I like about Tampa Bay is what's been the thing we've criticized about them. Too much reliance on the power play. Well, what did we see from Tampa Bay in the last game? They scored 3 even strength goals. That was significant for them. I think when you look at this, though, Vegas struggled on the road last year. They feast at home against St. Louis, Anaheim, and Colorado to start the year. Well, first of all, Anaheim, rebuilding. St. Louis, up and down. Colorado stunk to begin the year. How much can you really give Vegas credit for those home wins? They go on the road against Washington. Again, they were 18-23 guys last year on the road, Vegas. They go on the road against Washington, and they don't play that great. Washington took it to them. Washington outplayed them. And so the road concerns, and Vegas was not a good road team last year. They look like they might be rearing their ugly head again if the Washington game the other night is any indication. So I got in at minus 130. I hate that it's gone up for 20 cents. I would say if you take Tampa now, take minus 1. Pinnacle and some books, you can do a minus 1 and get it around even money. It's better than laying minus 150. Preserve your bankroll long term. But I'm on Tampa. I'm on the over here at 6, and might probably sprinkle on the first period over too. Vegas and Tampa, look at the games last year. Track meets, both of them. Vegas and Tampa, a lot of goals. And really, other than the Anaheim game, every Vegas game has gone over the total this season. So I do like goals here. As good as Vasilevsky's been, I think Vegas, they're 30th in the league, guys, Tampa Bay, in expected goals against. So even though they've only given up 1 goal in each game, they're giving up good chances. And I think Vegas is the kind of team that could maybe capitalize on some of those good chances Tampa's given up. But like I said, Aiden Hill in net for Vegas. He's not had the best start to his season, and that's not great when you're facing this Tampa team. So I think Tampa scores as well. So I like the overs by Fecta. I like the full game more, and I like Tampa here. Again, I don't love the price now. I got minus 130. I still like Tampa, but I would say if you haven't bet it now and still want to, try to get it at a minus 1 line somewhere and pay around even money rather than the minus 150 that's out there right now. Alex, what do you think here? Golden Knights Lightning.
I'll give you one better. You can just grab them at regulation plus 100 at FanDuel, which is what I did. I played that small, just Tampa to win the game within 60 minutes at even money. But I also like the first period over and full game overs, but I'm waiting to bet those in game. I don't want to lay 125. I think we can definitely get plus money, and we could get a 5.5 here. And I don't expect scoring right off of the jump. I don't expect scoring in the first 5 minutes. So wait, get some time, buy some time, and look for better numbers with the first period and full game overs, along with Tampa Bay regulation.
Tampa swept Vegas last year, actually, as well, 2-0. They won in Vegas and they won at home against Vegas last year. So Lightning have kind of had their number. See if that continues here tonight. Again, I got to see more from the road, on the road from Vegas. Again, we were all over that they struggled on the road last year. When you're losing to Washington on the road, your first sojourn away from Sin City, it definitely draws red flags for me. Matt, what do you think here? Vegas, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I like goals in this game as well. And as you mentioned, Ian, Vasilevsky does look in Vezina caliber form. But I just think this is one of those spots. I love Tampa Bay overs at home. Generally, they can light it up. So the big play for me is actually Tampa Bay team total over 3.5 plus 110, plus 120, somewhere in that range. I think if it's going to go over the total, I think Tampa Bay is going to get at least 4 goals. So I love that play. But I do think there's going to be some goals early. And so, at 1.5 and 6, or you can wait live, like Alex mentioned. I think that's not a bad move. What I've been doing on certain games, and I'm thinking about doing it on this one, at least on MGM. I've never seen it until this year, but they'll let you do a same game parlay where you can take the first period over 1.5 and the full game over at 5.5. And generally it's coming out to like plus 110, plus 120. That's what I hit on the Boston Colorado game last night. So I'm going to do an SGP first period over, full game over at 5.5 on this game. I'll see what it comes out to, but it should be like in that plus 110, plus 115 range. And I like that look a lot.
All right, good stuff. As far as props in this game, I'm going back to the Nick Paul. I think that whole line, Cirelli and Hagel, there's some good value. Obviously, Point Kucherov and company and Gensel, what they're capable of doing, but don't sleep on the second line. For Vegas, close shave Barbashev. We like the way Ivan Barbashev has started the season for sure. For the Vegas Golden Knights, Dorofeyev we like as far as a goal prop with value as well. So there's a couple for Vegas I'd consider here in this one as well. All right, next up, we roll along. It is Dallas and Washington. The Dallas Stars now minus 150 road favorites here in this game. The total sitting at 6 across the board. This was actually higher earlier in the day. Dallas actually a few hours ago was minus 160 in this spot, but then the Casey DeSmith news was announced that he was going to start. Be careful, though. He is off a shutout win against Seattle in his very first start with the Stars. But is that something you're going to see routinely from Casey DeSmith? I'm not sure. Now you're starting on the road as well as opposed to at home. How does that impact things? I was impressed with Washington, in the win against Vegas. And actually, to me, offensively, they've performed better than I thought they might. They've had more offense in their repertoire than I thought they would have coming into the season. They scored 3 against Jersey, 4 against Vegas, 7 goals in the first 2 games combined. Now they get the benefit of Casey DeSmith. No disrespect to Casey DeSmith, who's solid and can go out there and have a great game maybe, but he's still not Jake Ottinger if you compare obviously the 2 Dallas goalies. So I could see maybe Washington getting some offense going here. I do think Dallas offensively can have success. Charlie Lindgren is in net, struggled in his start against New Jersey. They went to Logan Thompson. It's not so much a hot take or a bold take. Logan Thompson will eventually be the number 1 goalie for Washington later this year. And I don't want to say, Lindgren, all the credit in the world to Lindgren. This looked like a guy that was a journeyman goalie at best a couple of years ago. And he had a great year last year, but now you're being asked to play that way again for a second year in the NHL. Can he do it, Charlie Lindgren? I didn't love his game at all in the New Jersey game on Saturday when he gave up 5. So I think Dallas can score some goals as well. I like an over by Fecta here. I got in on this total at 5.5 before it moved to 6. I bet it before the DeSmith news came out. I liked it at 5.5. 6, I still like it. And also series history factored into this for me. Look at the 2 games last year, Stars versus Capitals, 5-4, 5-4. It was a goalpalooza. Both of the head-to-head meetings last year with Dallas and Washington. So I did also take full first period over 1.5, full game over 5.5, but I still like it at 6. I'm taking the draw as well in this game. Both meetings, Stars and Capitals as well, went to overtime last year, beyond regulation, both of them between the Stars and the Capitals. So I think the draw is live in this game with Dallas and Washington tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Stars, Capitals.
Yeah, I will have a little bit of a draw in pocket, but the play that I love the most is the first period over, and this number is actually dropped to minus $1.10 at FanDuel. Like I said, Casey Smith coming off of a shutout loss. Everybody's thinking that the Dallas Stars are now, that the Dallas Stars are now the '90s, New Jersey Devils with these back-to-back shutouts. This is a team that can play fast and can certainly outskate Washington. And I remember vividly the last two meetings between these two teams where and most of the same Dallas crew, most of the same Washington crew. Dallas outskated Washington, but yet there was still track meets that went back and forth, like you said, both games going past regulation. So I like goals here early and often. I will be on the over 6 as well, but I really love that first period over, especially at $1.10.
I really like this draw quite a bit. I like the overs as well, but I like this draw quite a bit. Both games with Stars Caps went to overtime last year. Hell, Dallas just went to overtime and shootout against San Jose at home. Clearly, they're capable of going to overtime or a shootout tonight, on the road against Washington. So I think we've got a potential for this game to go past 60. Matt, Mr. Stars fan, what do you think here? Dallas, Washington.
Yeah, I love the overs. I'm going to be on the first period in the game over. I think this is a spot. I've seen Dallas do it a lot in the past, a couple tighter games, low scoring games, a battle with San Jose. I think things will open up. I don't think they'll be outstanding defensively, but I could see this game, Dallas having, 4 or 5 goals. I'm going to take the team total with Dallas as well. It's over 3.5, like plus 120, plus 125. I think this is one of those games. They're on the road, you get to hang with the boys a little bit. Ottinger just signed a big deal. Vibes are high in the Stars locker room. And I think this is one of those games, maybe they have a couple slip ups or give up a power play goal. I could see this being like a 5-2 type game. So I don't side with the draw. We'll see what happens. I, didn't really expect a draw in the San Jose game, but it played out, exactly from the get-go. It was going to be one of those back and forth games. I think this game will be a little more opened up. I could see 2 or 3 or even 4 goals in the first period. So love the first period over and love the game over, but I'm hoping to see them kind of open things up a little bit. It looks like I'm seeing kind of, they've changed that first line back and forth. If Wyatt's on that top line, I love props out of those 3. I could see, Wyatt getting a couple points, really trying to chip in up there. So, I could see this being more of a track meet than a tight defensive game. And DeSmith played great in his opener 2 games back, but it's tough to like reciprocate that on the road. I think he'll still play well, and I think they still, will play well defensively, but I could see a couple slip ups. You're on the road. So I expect a lot of goals in the game.
Yeah, one more thing I might add to this card. I like draw 4-4 tie for 60-minute correct score plus 2,800.
Wow, how about that? There we go.
Yeah. So both games last year they were tied at 4 going into overtime. So
yes, both of them were 5-4 beyond regulation decisions last year with the Stars and the Capitals. And remember, it's the same coaches too. So that's another thing you got to factor in as well. So, like I said, I think I have. I look at this as a situation where this should be an interesting. I think we've got a chance to see more goals than you would expect. I think Washington's not always going to be a team that's going to be capable offensively, but right now you have to bet what your eyes see early in the season. And if you try to bet that they're due to do something than what they've done so far, that's when you're getting in trouble earlier this year. Like how many times have people bet against Edmonton finally before to bet on Edmonton to win before they finally did? We're seeing Washington play good offensively, even though we didn't expect them to. They've scored 7 goals, averaged 3.5 goals per game in the first 2. They're showing some offensive punch. Dallas, we know they're capable of it. So, like I said, overs in the draw for me. And as far as props go, if Protas is still on the top line, I go back to the well. We cashed a prop with Alexei Protas with Stroman Ovechkin on the top line for Washington. I think he's still there, so there's some good value on that. It looks like Dodonov and Johnston, are going to be on the right wing side of the top 2 lines for this Dallas team. Sagan is still day-to-day. Marchment, Duchesne, Dodonov, looking like that could be a group together, so we'll see how that goes. But like I said, I'm liking the overs and draw in this game. All right, Vancouver and Florida, still the winless Vancouver Canucks. They're minus 115 road favorites, though, against the champs. How about that? And the total sitting at 5.5 here in this game. Looks like it's Kevin Lankinen going to get the nod tonight for Vancouver. Although it hasn't been confirmed, it is Sergei Bobrovsky for Florida. Vancouver's not going to go 0-82. And I kind of feel for Florida, this is a dubious spot for them. If you look, because my thought here was, look, initially going into this game, I was going to look at Florida or pass. The more I look into it, I definitely don't want Florida. The question is, can I get there with Vancouver? And the one thing for Florida is they're off 2 wins to end the road trip. The Boston win on Monday, the emotional game with Johnny Gaudreau's tribute on Tuesday night in Columbus, and even the Panthers players and Paul Maurice, the head coach, after the game noted just how emotional it was. It was kind of overwhelming, to be in that environment. And now you're going to come back home, those 2 wins, the emotional, exhausting game in Columbus. It's a spot where I could see them sleeping, especially early in this game against Vancouver. Now, I don't know if I trust Vancouver for the full 60, because this Canucks team has not given Rick Tocchet a full 60 minutes this year at any point. But I think in the first period, they could be live. Rick Tocchet specifically noting after the Tampa Bay loss the other night, we played a good second period, we played a good third period, but I didn't like our start. We didn't start on time the other night against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that cost them. Their worst period was the first period. I think you get a good first period out of Vancouver. I'm taking a shot, and I'm going a step further. Vancouver first period, screw the money line. I'm here to win, not to push, goddammit. Okay? I'm not here to push. If it ends up tied, and I could have bet the money line for the first period instead, and it's tied after the first period, so be it. I'm here to win. I'm here to win cash tickets and win, not push. I'm going to go with Vancouver first period puck line. -0.5, plus 190 is the price on that. I'm going to go Vancouver first period puck line, -0.5, plus 190. Jump on Florida, off the road. The back-to-back wins with Boston and Columbus, including the emotional night for Johnny, and Vancouver heeding the words of their coach to have a better start, which they did not have on Tuesday night in Tampa Bay when they lost to the Lightning. So let's go with that. Little bold, but I like it. I like how this sets up on both sides. The price is immaculate. We're going to go with Vancouver here, -0.5, plus 190, first period puck line. In this game, I think it's a better bet and certainly a more value-laden bet than taking Vancouver money line to win the game at -115. Because I think, unlike the other night, their best period tonight might be the first period against this Florida team. Alex, what do you think here? Canucks, Panthers.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and shop around too, because we're seeing this line at Pick'em. You might have to search to find the alternative puck line, depending on where your book has Vancouver line. So that may not be in your immediate options. You might have to shop around. So I always want to give that disclaimer whenever there's a pick'em game. But I think a fast start here definitely makes sense. Whenever we hear a coach say fast start, that's usually a buy sign for the first period over. And I'm looking at -$1.09 at FanDuel. So I'll definitely be on that first period over. But I'll grab a little bit of Vancouver first period puck line, laying the half a goal at plus 170, 175. Some of the prices I'm seeing floating around as well.
Yeah. Like I say, maybe Vancouver. To me, I don't see Vancouver winning this game if they don't have a good first 20 minutes. Like, I can't see a scenario where they fall behind 1-0 or even certainly 2-0 in the first period, come back and beat a team like Florida. We know how nails it is to come back against Florida when they have a lead. They've just become, it's in their DNA. They just know how to fucking shut her down when they have a lead. So it's important for Vancouver. That's why they're a Stanley Cup champ. They just know how to close out games and hold leads. That's why for Vancouver, I think if you like them in this spot, first period, you want something on the first period in your investment, in your portfolio, if you're going to be on the Vancouver side here tonight. Maddie, what do you think here, Vancouver, Florida?
Yeah, I'm just going to be on the first period over here. I do think Vancouver comes out and has a fast start, but, Florida being at home, emotional game earlier this week, they're going to also want to, kind of come back to a real game and, have a good start as well. As the season goes on, and there's teams that don't have a win yet, you don't want to be that team to give them their first win and sort of wake them up. So I know they're missing some pieces, but I think it'll be, a pretty good game. I could see it going either way. I do think Vancouver is going to have a fast start regardless, but I wouldn't be shocked if Florida pockets one as well in the first. So I'm just going to keep it simple and take the first period over on this one.
All right, good stuff. All right, New Jersey and Ottawa. We've got the New Jersey Devils, minus 140 road favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. We still don't have Linus Ullmark for the Ottawa Senators. He's still out, which we expected. We didn't expect this to be a one-game absence. Anton Forsberg will be in net for Ottawa tonight. We expect Jacob Markstrom for New Jersey, although that's not confirmed. For the first time in his tenure with the Devils, Sheldon Keefe was a little miffed about his team after the Carolina game. Didn't love the way they played, didn't love the way they started in that game. How could they? They got dominated. They were lucky they got out of that first period scoreless because it was all Carolina, and they were kind of held in there by their goalie. So I expect New Jersey to respond here. And certainly Ottawa without Forsberg, with Forsberg as opposed to Ullmark, we're finding out that's a pretty big gap in the goaltending. Obviously, Forsberg gets the win despite giving up 7 goals against the Los Angeles Kings on Monday. Now, normally when a team gives up 7, you think under the next game. It's just very difficult for me to do that with Forsberg in net, with New Jersey's capabilities offensively. And look, LA wanted to play tidier defensively, I'm sure, after losing and giving up 8 goals to Ottawa. But what happened last night? They gave up 6, and they ended up losing. There was no better defensive showing from the LA Kings last night after giving up 8 to Ottawa. So the focus should be on defense, but it doesn't mean you're going to completely shut down the opponent. And with Forsberg in net, I don't know if they're capable of shutting down New Jersey completely. So I like another over by Fecta here. First period over, full game over. And another thing where you lean on series history. Look at Devils versus Senators the last several meetings. One over after another between these two teams head to head. Tons of overs. So first period over, full game over, Devils Senators. I probably add a little smaller bet on the Devils team total. Over 3.5 as well. They're off a loss to Carolina. Sheldon Keefe not thrilled. Expect a better effort from them, and certainly capable of getting 4 past Forsberg. If anything I saw from him on Monday against LA was any indication. What do you think here, Alex, with Devils and Senators?
This game's going to be a pass for me, and the reason why is the fact that you look at Anton Forsberg in goal for this game. He got hurt and ended up having to come out after giving up those 3 goals. In the last contest. So I just wonder, where's his format? Is he, is he fully healthy? Is he playing just kind of banged up, going through the motions, knowing that they need him to stay sturdy and have a better effort, especially with Ullmark being out for an undisclosed time. But also, we talked about this during the season preview with Ottawa. When they have games that go haywire and they look poor defensively, what's one of the issues we worry about? Travis Green is the head coach. Mike Yeo is an assistant coach. These are 2 guys who preach shutting everything down almost to a fault after a bad defensive outing. So that's what kind of worries me here. This could easily be a 2-1, 3-2 kind of game. And that's a game that they would want to have coming off of an 8-7 kind of a track meet. So I'm staying far away from this game. If I see there's a goal early, and then the teams want to try and tighten up, I might try and jump in on a live under, but this is a big enough card to where I can stay away from this game, just observe it.
Yeah, I just hope series history overrides that and overrides the Travis Green, Mike Yeo dumbass way of thinking in this game tonight. That's my hope. Because I'll tell you what, just look at every Devils Senators game last year. Yeah, it was overs galore. And hopefully more of the same tonight. We'll see though. What do you think here, Matt? New Jersey, Ottawa.
Yeah, I still lean overs in this one, but I'm going to do that SGP. I'm going to take the first period over 1.5 and the full game over 5.5. I hope we get 2 in the first and then see if we can't get to a 3-3 overtime game, something like that. So I definitely like some goals. It'll be interesting to see if Ottawa does tighten the bus, kind of just focus on that. But I do think New Jersey is due for, a big scoring affair at some point this season. And hopefully that's tonight.
Noah Gregor's on the second line for Ottawa tonight. That's value. Mentioned this with Bobby McMahon right before the Toronto game started last night. I just noticed 5 minutes. Whoa, Bobby McMahon's not only in the lineup because he didn't play the previous game. He's in the second line. And he had a 2-goal night last night for the Leafs. That's not always going to happen, obviously, but Noah Gregor's a good candidate for value on the second line for Ottawa tonight. He's getting the bump. Dawson Mercer hasn't been the start offensively I think he or the Devils expected, but he's going to get a chance with Heeshear and Timo Meier on the top line tonight. So I like Mercer maybe to get off the schneid tonight. Paul Cotter as well, I think, on the second line, giving him a chance to play with Hughes and Bratt. Paul Cotter's definitely got some value here as far as props tonight as well. All right, Rangers and Red Wings. These two teams just played. It's a home and home. Now this time in the Motor City. Rangers minus 145, road favorites, 6.5 the total. Jonathan Quick expected to get the start here tonight for the Rangers. First start of the season. He had a renaissance, like bounce back type of year last year in a backup role for the Rangers. Now, can he duplicate that kind of a performance this year? Chris Kreider, by the way, is a game time decision for tonight. Keep that in mind. So he may or may not go. Jeff Petrie out for the Red Wings on the blue line. Cam Talbot confirmed in net for Detroit. No surprise there after his pretty surprising shutout performance against Nashville over the weekend, but he did play well. And one thing you have to factor in with Cam Talbot, we think, Alex and I both think he's going to come back down to earth at some point. But he did have a strong start last year with LA. He had a great first few weeks, if not the entire first month of October. He was really good. Is this going to be a repeat where we're going to get great Cam Talbot for the rest of October? That remains to be seen. So that's why I'm hesitant on everything in this game, especially as far as overs. And I'm hesitant as far as taking the Rangers in this game, especially with the Rangers already beating the Detroit Red Wings the other night at MSG. Do they have the focus to put their foot down and win again? They have done well against Detroit. I think they've won 4 in a row in this series, but there's nothing I love in this game overall. So I'm going to, if I bet anything, it'll be small, but for me as of now, nothing for Rangers. Red Wings. Alex, what do you think? New York Rangers, Detroit Red Wings.
The draw at plus 360 just narrowly missed my card, so it's a pass. Because like I said, I just don't want to be heavy handed on this card tonight with a lot of games. But if I had to play anything, it would be draw at 360 over at FanDuel.
Yeah, nothing for me, sides or totals. There are a couple props I like in this game. I'll mention those in a moment, but that'll be about it for my involvement here in this one. What do you think here, Matt, with Rangers Red Wings?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I sort of lean Detroit. I don't know if I lean enough to take them. I could see this game going over. I could see this game going under. So it's more than likely going to be a pass for me as well. I did kind of think about Detroit team total over 2.5 at home, but it's just a little too much juice. I'm seeing it like minus 160. Don't know if I want to trust that. Quick's going to want to play well. Some in years past when a backup goalie comes in, usually your eyes wide open, overs, but there's a lot of good backup goalies in the league that, they want to have a good performance when they do get in there. And I think Quick's a guy like that. So, I do have a prop on this game that I'll mention at the end of the show.
So that must be a bargain bin candidate here coming from this game for Matt. Like I said, with this game too, keep in mind with the Quick as well. I mentioned how Talbot had his best month of the entire season last year with LA was October. So maybe he's going to have a great month. We don't, fade Talbot just yet, but Quick had a great first half. Then after the first half, he kind of leveled off a little bit. So both of these older netminders had a great start to the year last year. So it's another reason why it's just not a knee-jerk over for me in this game necessarily. Keep in mind, Detroit has been a loss-win type of team so far. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one. So that's something you want to factor in too. If that pattern holds, then they'd be winning tonight, but we'll see about that. As far as props, there were a couple that stuck out to me. Rasmussen's up there with Comfort and with Raymond. So I think there's a little value on Michael Rasmussen here for the Detroit Red Wings. For the Rangers, whoever takes the spot of Kreider, assuming he doesn't play, might be worth a look. I do like Lafreniere, like someone says in the chat here. I agree. And Riley Smith, he got off the schneid, scored for them the other night, finally playing on that top line. So maybe we go to the well once again with Riley Smith here going into this game from a goal prop standpoint for the Rangers, because he's being counted upon to be that guy to help, fill that right wing side on the top line. And he got off the schneid the other night against Detroit. All right, Edmonton and Nashville. We've got Edmonton minus 130, road favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game. Nashville's now a team that until they win, I don't want to back them. But I'm not running a lane minus 130 with Edmonton. I will say this, though, from a pure momentum standpoint, Nashville doesn't have any yet. They got shut out by Detroit. They got absolutely blown apart by Seattle 7-3 at home the other night. These are concerning losses right now for the Nashville Predators. And like I say, until I see evidence of them getting it going and a win, I don't want to back them, even as a home underdog here in this game. And Edmonton does have some legit positive bounce in their step going into this road trip here, starting in Nashville, because Edmonton got the first win of the year, comeback fashion against Philadelphia. They found a way to dig in, as Connor McDavid would say, right now. And they did dig in against Philadelphia and found a way to win that game. Leon Draisaitl has dominated Nashville. We've talked about this every single time the Oilers and Predators play. So anyone wanting to bet Leon Draisaitl goal prop, or even to score 2 or 3 goals or even a hat trick, it's not the craziest thing. There's just something about him against Nashville over the years. He has just had a shit ton of success facing this Predators team as far as lighting them up offensively, but nothing really much here. We love the overs with Nashville against Seattle, coming off the Seattle off the shutout. Nashville was off a shutout, but now Nashville's off a game where they gave up 7 goals. Is Edmonton going to try to play tighter defensively on the road? We'll see. Nothing I'm overly strong on here, other than, maybe I look at a few props here and there. I do think there's value on Nashville, but the value's not going to get me to the window alone for a winless hockey team. What do you think here, Alex? Edmonton, Nashville.
I have 3 player prop plays, all on one player, Leon Draisaitl. I have him to score 1 goal plus 170, and then I've got 2 other things that I'll mention a little bit later on.
There you go. All right, Matt. Oilers, Preds.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my only play here is going to be the first period over. I may wait a few minutes because I'm seeing it like minus 145. I think there's going to be goals. I think Edmonton's feeling, a little confidence building. Is it life-changing to get the win over Philly and OT? No, but they kind of built the momentum in the third period, and they're bringing that into Nashville. And Nashville, it's not time season's over or anything like that, but they're sort of in desperation mode. They're going to want a hot start, especially at home. So I think there will be a few goals early, and then I think things could, a little bit teeter off. But yeah, I'm hoping for a couple goals in the first period in this one. That'll be my only play, I think. And then, I might be tailing what Alex is onto, so I'm going to wait and see what he's got to say towards the end.
No doubt Alex is eating up on the bargain bin, so you're right. That's going to be something worth paying attention to 100% later on in the show. Calvin Pickard, by the way, confirmed in net tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. We expect Saros for Nashville. It just hasn't been confirmed as of yet, but we will see how that goes. But it's, at least as of now, looking like that we might see certainly UC Saros for Nashville, just not confirmed. And it is Pickard. And to me, Pickard's not as good as Skinner, especially when Skinner's on his game, but he can be capable too at times. Although wasn't he the goalie in net when Chicago played Edmonton last weekend? I think so. I think it was Pickard that night.
He was, yeah.
Yes, it was indeed. And of course, 5 goals he gave up. But again, the team wasn't really good in front of him either that night. So you want to factor that in. Yeah, I actually do lean over, but there's other sides and totals I like more. All right, next up, we've got New York Islanders and St. Louis Blues. The Islanders minus 145, road favorites, 6 the total. Okay, I know St. Louis was bad against Minnesota. It was not a very good game for them. And I know Joel Hofer's in net, confirmed tonight, not Jordan Binnington. I know that as well. But we're going to really put the Islanders out there, minus 150 almost now as a road favorite? I mean, the Islanders, they beat Colorado, big whoop. Everyone's beating Colorado right now. They're a mess right now. We're going to give the Islanders all kinds of flowers because they beat the Colorado Avalanche in that hockey game. It's also a team that gave up 5 or 6 goals and lost to Utah, in the game before that. So here's the thing with Patrick Waugh. And we saw the Islanders decline defensively last year, big time. Defensively, they're still, I think, not as good as they were 2 years ago this year either, but they can score now. Duclair has helped. Siplikov has helped. Now, all of a sudden, it's not all on Palmieri, Barzal, Horvat, and Nelson's shoulders, or Lee. Now you can get other offense. They're a better offensive team, for sure, the Islanders. I think the Blues, though, against this Islanders team, and I know it's probably going to be back to Sorokin here. They're trying to see if he can get his form back, and certainly he got the 6-2 win against Colorado the other night in his first start of the season, because it was Varlamov the first 2 games, and then Sorokin made his debut. But let's see more. Colorado's a disaster at the moment. Let's see more from Sorokin. I'm not ready to say Sorokin's just back all of a sudden. Let's see more, and I think St. Louis has a lot more gusto in them. Bannister was not a happy camper after the Minnesota game the other night. I think there's value on the Blues now at this price, plus 125 as a home underdog. I'm going to take a shot. St. Louis, to me, this is St. Louis has value now, and the Islanders, to me, we're going to lay minus 150 because they beat Colorado, who everybody's been able to whip on so far this year. No, not in this price range yet. Am I trusting this New York Islanders team? So St. Louis, sprinkle on the draw because it is the Islanders after all, and I like the overs here. First period and full game over. And 5.5 I got on the full game over in this game at minus 120. So I think we see offense here. And the Blues, certainly, here's another one of those cases where they didn't get shut out by Minnesota, but they only scored 1 goal. Those 0 or 1 goal in the previous game teams, it's pretty uncanny how the next game we're seeing the overs and the goals flood in. It's happened a lot this year. So over by Fecta, Blues money line, a little sprinkle on the draw as well. What do you think here, Alex? Islanders, Blues?
Yeah, I have just a draw on this, and it's not the best of prices. It got plus 340 earlier. Now it's down to 330 at FanDuel. Obviously, like I said, try and grab anything that's above plus 300. So even if that means looking at the yes/no prop and you're seeing a price variance there, which haven't seen that too often like we have in previous years. But if you're seeing a 290 on the draw and a yes plus 305, by all means, go with the better of the number. But I like this game to go past regulation.
All right, draw as well for Alex in this one. Matt, what do you think here? Islanders, Blues?
Yeah, this is just a game that doesn't interest me. There's too many question marks on it, so I'm just going to completely stay off this one. Again, we've got a good card tonight, so don't need to fight my way into betting every single game. So this will be a pass for me.
I still like Neighbors, Sod, Bolduc, all those guys for St. Louis that I like the last game because they're all in positions where they're going to have opportunity to score at great prices. And for the Islanders, I'm going back to the well with the same 2 cast of characters. You know who? The new faces, Duclair and Siplikov for the New York Islanders. I like props for both of them because I definitely think those are the 2 guys in particular that have made the Islanders a little bit, at least, of a deeper, better offensive team this year and have the potential on any given night to be able to strike and find the back of the net. And all right, next up, at long last, for Alex P. Smith and all Chicago Blackhawks fans, it is their home opener at the Madhouse on Madison, the United Center, as they host the San Jose Sharks. Chicago minus 190, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. From a side perspective, clearly a stay off game for me. Chicago has done well against San Jose recent meetings, but you're talking about minus 190 off a road trip that was pretty lengthy when you think of the ground that had to be covered, right? Utah, and then they go through the Western Canadian sojourn, this Chicago team after that. Excluding Vancouver. They played Winnipeg, Edmonton, and Calgary on that road trip. Now you're back home. Do I want to lay minus 190 with you in this spot? No. But look at San Jose since Macklin Celebrini's been out. They've scored 2 goals in 2 games. You know, it's you take Celebrini away, and all of a sudden it's a big hit to this Sharks offense. And we're kind of seeing it play out that way so far. Mrazek expected to be in net here for the Blackhawks tonight. Vitek Vanacek is going to get the starting nod for San Jose. He did start a previous game against Anaheim, and he played well. He gave up 1 goal on 29 shots, and the second goal that went in was an empty net goal for Anaheim. So he did play well in that first start, but come on, I got to see more. This is a guy that didn't play great last year with Washington. And then, New Jersey, I should say, last year. Washington before that. I got to see more from Double V, Vitek Vanacek before we're ready to trust him going into this matchup against Chicago. Not a whole lot here. Even the total, I'm wishy-washy on it. Chicago has not been. They've had fits and starts offensively. They had the game against Edmonton where they scored 5, and then they get shut down by a Calgary team that I think you should be able to score goals against Calgary this year. And Chicago only got 1 goal past them, although Dustin Wolf played pretty well in that game. So this is a game where, lots of variance. Could it be 3-1, 3-2 for somebody? Absolutely. Could it be 5-4 for somebody? Sure. I could see that too. Could Chicago win? Well, Chicago should win, honestly, but at this price, I'm not interested. Alex, what do you think here? Sharks, Blackhawks.
So this is a play I made last night where it was a good move to bet it early because I got minus $1.15 in regulation on the Hawks. Now we're seeing $1.25, $1.30. That's way out of range. So I can't recommend betting the Hawks at anything higher than minus $1.20 in regulation. I do like the first period over here. I just saw a tweet that Alec Martinez will not be playing. Isaac Phillips was recalls from Rockford, so that weakens the defense a little bit more. Like I said, the Sharks have been struggling to get some goals going on their end, but maybe they can at least find a couple here against the Hawks. So slight lean to the full game over, heavier lean to the first period over. I more than likely will have the first period over in pocket. Couple of goal score props I like. I like Nick Foligno again. He's not at bargain bin range. He's plus 220, up to plus 285. So I got plus 285 at Caesars, and also like Bertuzzi, Tyler Bertuzzi to get a goal there as well. So you can get him around plus 225 to plus 230. So I'll be having those two goal props along with the first period over. And like I said, I have Hawks in regulation in pocket, but I can't endorse it at this high of a price.
Certainly still, though, if you're going to take Chicago, you either got to look regulation or puck line. You don't want any part of a minus 190. Nolan Allen is going to slide in on the blue line tonight for Chicago in place of Alec Martinez. Actually had a solid year in Rockford last year, known as an effective, stay-at-home, shut-down defenseman. They're hoping he's still going to be able to be solid for them in the defensive zone for the Blackhawks. So it's Nolan Allen taking Martinez's spot tonight for Chicago. On that back end. What do you think here in this one, Matt? San Jose, Chicago.
Yeah, I also lean Chicago. I'm not going to lay minus 190 on them. San Jose, they're obviously a young team. They're gritty. I wouldn't be shocked if they get out of Chicago with a win tonight. But my confidence is with Chicago. It's just not quite there for the juice. I do like some goals as well, and I'm going to do that same game parlay where I'm going to take over 1.5 and game at 5.5 and try and get that plus pricing, and hope that we go over in both the first period and the total game.
And that's over 1.5 first. Now, Matt's done this with a few games with this SGP concept where it's over 1.5 in the first period, your standard over 1.5 in the first period, but it's getting the full game total down to 5.5. Instead of 6 or 6.5. This is something you're going to have to track and see if it's a profitable endeavor for you. Track it, see how well you do. Hopefully you do well. Hopefully it's not the other and you don't do well with it. Hopefully you do well with it and track it, see how it goes. But it's an interesting concept to get over 1.5 paired with over 5.5 for the full game total instead of the 6.5 in that same game.
Yeah, I'll definitely start tracking it. I just noticed it was an option on BetMGM probably within the last couple of days. If you go the normal route of betting first period over and game over, it typically won't let you connect it. But if you go through the same game parlay, it allows you to do first and full. Obviously, if there's a game you love over 6.5, you can do both and get that better price point. But I feel like if you're really feeling good about the first period over, if there is the 2 goals in the first, asking for 5.5 total, not that crazy. So, and again, it kind of brings that price down into the plus money. You obviously need both to hit, but it can be a nice little payout for you.
Yeah,
no
doubt.
FanDuel has that option available as well too, so that's definitely something to look at in the same game parlay columns.
Yeah.
Here's the concern for San Jose. You're already hurting a little on the offensive side without Celebrini. William Eklund may not play tonight. Game time decision with an upper body injury. It was Zetterlund, and then Will Smith's been pretty quiet so far. Costin Toffoli did score, but aging player a little bit, and he got nothing really from the fourth line except one Delandria goal against his old team, the Dallas Stars, the other night, which was a great bargain bin call, of course, from Matt Robinson there. But there's just not been a plethora of offensive options here so far tonight for this team, the San Jose team, and that's definitely a concern here going into this game. Can they score enough? And of course, Chicago, they had the game where they didn't score against Winnipeg. They only got 2 past Utah. They had the breakout against Edmonton. Power play looked good. Everything looked good that night. And then right back to just 1 goal the other night, against Calgary. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting is which offense is going to step up here and take this game by the throat. Do a couple props, though, on the Chicago side. I know Alex liked Foligno the other night. As long as he's still on the top line with Bedard and Teravainen, you're getting great prices with the captain. You can never argue with maybe looking in that direction. And it is his first home game at the United Center as captain of the Blackhawks. So does he lightning strike twice again for Foligno? Maybe find in the back of the net. You're certainly always going to get good prices with him with Bedard and Teravainen for sure. So something to keep an eye on there for tonight. All right, the final game for this massive Thursday night slate with 11 games on tap. We've got Philadelphia and Seattle. The Kraken minus 140 home favorites, 6 the total in this game. I mean, this is a spot where I'd like to fade both teams. Seattle off a 7-3 win over Nashville, coming back home off a road trip. It's not exactly a bet-on spot for Seattle, especially laying minus 140. Philadelphia is off a frustrating overtime loss to Edmonton where, they end up getting the win there or losing that game even though they led most of the way. Bounce back spot, you would think, for Philly. This has been a long road trip for them, with what's gone on. They went through Edmonton. They went through Calgary. They went through Vancouver, Western Canada. Now you're wrapping it up here in Seattle, and you finally get home to Philly after this game for your home opener. So, those last road games of the road trip, they're often not the greatest spots to back a team either. So you got Seattle home off a road trip, not the greatest spot. Philly last game of a long road trip, not the greatest spot. So it's a tricky side here for me in this one. Total, same thing. Seattle's not a team I'm rushing to bet unders with because of the new look brand of pace and aggressiveness and assertion that Dan Bylsma is trying to get this team to play with on offense, and we've seen that at times this year for Seattle. We'll have to see if it's Fedotov, though, and it is Fedotov. I mean, he is definitely a raw work in progress project in net for the Flyers. I'd be more interested in an over with him in net. And I might pull the trigger on something along those lines, maybe a small over by Fekta here in this game with the Flyers and the Kraken. Look, the over by Fekta did cash against Edmonton for that Philly team the other night. So I would look maybe at over 1.5 first period, over 6 as far as this goes small. But what I like the most, actually, is this game to go past regulation. You look at last year, Philadelphia, Seattle, both games were decided by 1 goal. It was 3-2 in Philadelphia. The game in Seattle went to overtime between these two teams. I don't think either team is going to gain tons of separation from the other. And like I said, with that game between these teams in Seattle going to overtime last year, I'm comfortable taking plus 360 here with the Flyers Kraken draw here in this game tonight. So a little small over by Fekta, not as strong on it as the others I've mentioned, and the draw for me here with Philadelphia and Seattle. Alex, what do you think here? Flyers, Kraken.
Yeah, I like the over by Fekta, but I'm going to be looking for it live. He said I think we can get some plus money with that over 1.5, or at least maybe lay $1.05 at a little bit cheaper of a price, and I think we can definitely get a 5.5 with that over Flyers Kraken. And might grab a little bit of that draw plus 360. It's a later game, so and that's something I've been doing now. I've been kind of circling things and waiting to bet some of the later spots. So I'll have the draw circled, and if it's a good night, I might just toss a little something extra on it at the end.
All right, Matt, what do you think here? Final game on the slate, Flyers, Kraken.
Yeah, this one, I do like the over by Fekta. As you mentioned, I'm a little less happy about, excited about it. I've actually been doing something similar to Alex, like last night, that Utah Anaheim game, as every game was sailing over the overs, I decided to jump in and take the first period and full game over. So this may be one I hold off on. That would be my play. But I don't know if I'll have everything, pre-first puck drop on this game. And we'll see kind of how the night's going. If it's, a lot of unders, then I may just stay off this game altogether. But if it's another night of goals galore, then I may jump on this later in the evening.
I would go. Shane Wrights might be centering the top line tonight for Seattle with McCann and Eberle, so there's value there. Eberle and Bjorkstrand have been potting goals lately for the Kraken, so I think for goal props, they might be worth a look here as well tonight in this game. For Philadelphia, Matvei Mishkov with not 1 but 2 goals, his first 2 in his NHL career against Edmonton the other night. Frost, Tippett, they're worth a look. Jet Luchenko is worth a look. He almost scored the other night a couple of times against Edmonton. I know he's only 18 years old, but he's centering the second line, and he had a bunch of chances the other night against Edmonton. So I do think Jet Luchenko is someone that has got great value right now, could easily have had a goal by now. He might be worth a look for props tonight as well. Goaltending, by the way, as I mentioned, Ivan Fedotov for Philadelphia, Philip Grubauer confirmed in net for Seattle. And by the way, the Fedotov numbers last year, 5.08 goals against average, 839 save percentage. So yes, that's got to get better if he's going to get a lot of starts this year, backing up Sam Emerson. Yeah, no doubt about it. If he's going to get, all kinds of starts this year, he's going to have to end up playing or start playing better than that. Now, again, he has a full training camp this year, chance to get a little more. Remember, he was just thrown into the mix right at the end of the season last year for Philadelphia. Maybe that helps him, but we'll have to wait and see, because obviously the number's not good last year in his limited action down the stretch of the regular season. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Appreciate you guys joining us each and every day here on the Ice Guys Show. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already, those of you watching on YouTube, and everyone else watching on all the other platforms, including Twitter X. We appreciate it as well. Make sure you sign up at patreon.com/iceguys. $10 per month. Our daily NHL betting card, sides, totals, player props, goalie charts, totals charts, and more. Ice Guys, obviously, videos there and exclusives, including the Player Suite interviews over the summer, exclusive live betcasts on the way. And again, $10 per month to sign up to get that. Plus, of course, the daily betting card. It's just a great way for you guys to support the show long term. $10 per month. Sign up now. Patreon.com/iceguys.
Yeah, I put up the goalie charts last night, and it, just wanted to make sure to let everybody, you can read the chart on the actual Patreon page, but if you just scroll
power
down
ratings
the bottom,
are coming. Unfortunately, I tried to save the document and forgot to save it, and next thing you know, it's just start them off from scratch. But it's coming. Trust me. Overnight tonight, you'll see the power ratings on the page.
So Ian's power ratings are coming. Mine are already up, and if you go at the bottom of the post, you'll see a little link. It's a little tag for a PDF link. You can click on that, and you can download that form as well. So we'll try and make those forms downloadable as we go on throughout the year, so everybody can have them and keep a record on that. You can kind of add notes or print it out at your own leisure. But also definitely want to check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. 20% off everything for the next 7 days, starting today. You get everything, add everything to your cart, go to checkout, and it'll take 20% off if you hit that redeem button that's at the top of the page. So check it out right now. 20% off everything for all this week. That's over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Yeah, check out the Ice Guys store. Absolutely get the merch. And a reminder about our first live betcast coming your way. It is right around the corner. First Ice Guys live betcast of the season. Tuesday, October 22nd. There you have it. 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. We can't wait. This is going to be great. I cannot wait for this. This is our first live betcast of the season. It's for Frozen Frenzy. Every team in action starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Next Tuesday, October 22nd. We'll be there all night from the start of the very first game till the end of the very last game on Tuesday night. We will make it a full night, full-on betcast, free for all. This will be open to everybody. Next Tuesday, October 22nd, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Join us for the first Ice Guys live betcast of the new season. We're going to whoop it up that night, Alex, guaranteed. Maddie, you too.
Definitely. Definitely. Looking forward to that for sure. So
bring out your drinks, your beers, your whiskeys, your shots, your whatever beverage you like. Absolutely. And it'll be a lot of fun for the first time of this season, getting back in the betcast mode on Tuesday night. All right, we're going to get into the bargain bin special of the night and best bet mode coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Manscaped, Power Play Sportsbook, Raise Your Game, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page.
Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
All right. Thanks and shout out as always to all our great Ice Guys show sponsors, including, of course, Boston Hemp Inc. Again, 20% off using the promo code Ice Guys at bostonhempinc.com. All right. It's time to get that fire hydrant out. Things are starting to heat up finally with the bargain bin special of the night. A few winners in the book this week already, and we'll look to add to it tonight. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special for this Thursday.
So I've got two of them for one player in the same game that we talked about earlier with Edmonton and Nashville. Leon Draisaitl. I like him to score one goal at plus 170. But for the bargain bin material, I like him to get 2 goals. You can get that right now at plus 1,200 at FanDuel. And I like him to get the first goal of the game, which is also plus 1,200 at FanDuel. So we got 2 for plus 1,200 each. First goal of the game for Leon Draisaitl and 2 goals for Leon Draisaitl. Those are my bargain bin specials for the night.
There we go. All about Leon Draisaitl and his historical dominance over the Nashville Predators. We'll see if that continues tonight with Alex B. Smith and his bargain bin special of the night. Matt Robinson delivered one earlier this week with Ty Dellandrea on Tuesday night. What do you got, Matt, for an encore tonight?
Yeah, so mine's not going to be quite as exciting as Alex's. I do love those plays, though. But what I'm going to do is, I know he was there a brief time. I love the angle of guys scoring against their old teams. Give me Tarasenko for Detroit to score against the New York Rangers. He didn't have any points the other night in that game. I think Detroit's going to come out and want to get the win on the home and home. So why not Tarasenko? I saw it like plus 330, plus 350. So make sure and shop around. But Vladimir Tarasenko, anytime goal tonight against his old team.
Plus 350 at Caesars is what you can find. Plus 320 at the score bet, 335 at. So it's definitely at enough books where it makes the grade as far as being bargain bin price worthy. So there you go. Plus 350 for Vladimir Tarasenko with the Detroit Red Wings for his bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special of the night. There's not as many tonight that totally jumped off the page at me. For this particular slate. But I'm going to go, I think, tonight in this particular game with, I'm going to go back to the well with our guy from the Islanders. It was either, I liked Saad quite a bit too, because he's on the top line in that Islanders-Blues game at plus 355. But I'm going to go to Siplikov for the Islanders again at plus 360 at FanDuel. I like what I see. He's getting chances, and I know he's only had the 1 goal, but boy, he could have had 2, 3, or 4 by now. And I like he's getting the opportunity on the power play as well. Second line for the Islanders. So let's go Maxim Siplikov, New York Islanders plus 360 at FanDuel for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets. It was a beautiful night for best bets on the show yesterday. We'll see if we can keep it going tonight. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, it's a larger than usual bet on my personal card as well, but I'm loving the Dallas Stars, Washington Capitals first period over. You can still get minus $1.10 at FanDuel over 1.5 goals. Like I said, Dallas is not a defensive juggernaut just yet. And I believe that they can outskate Washington. They can get 2 on their own. This could easily be a 1-1 game. Doesn't matter how we get the 2. We just need 2 from Dallas and Washington. First period over 1.5 minus 110. That is my Thursday best bet.
All right, Dallas, Washington over 1.5 first period. Best bet here for Alex B. Smith. Matt, what do you like here for best bet?
Yeah, so I go back and forth on 2, but I think tonight, take it out to Tampa. Give me Tampa Bay, Vegas, first period over. As you mentioned last year, there were a lot of track meets between these two teams. Vegas struggles on the road. Tampa tends to have some big over games at home. Just need 2 goals in the first period. Tampa Bay, Vegas, first period over. That's my best bet.
There you go. Tampa Bay, Vegas, first period over, 1.5 for Matt Robinson with his best bet here for this Thursday slate. My best bet is, hopefully we can cash the first period over with Dallas, Washington, and in the for Alex. And in the process, you can also cash a full game over with Dallas and Washington, courtesy of yours truly, because that's where I'm going for my best bet. Stars, Capitals, over, and there are still some 5.5s. 5.5 minus 120 Pinnacle. 5.5 minus 125 points bet and Betway. 5.5 minus 128 at FanDuel. Shop around. There are still 5.5s out there when it comes to this total. So Dallas and Washington for me, full game. Over 5.5, minus 120. That'll be my best bet here for this Thursday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Appreciate it very much. Hit the like button on YouTube if you haven't done so already on the way out. And like I said, looking forward to a big Thursday night here and a great 11-game NHL slate. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith and Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we'll see you tomorrow on Friday for another edition of the Ice Guys.